Right now on Morning News Now, New York state of mind, a high-profile trip to the Big Apple for former President Trump today, announcing he'll appear in court in person as that civil trial over alleged business fraud kicks off. We've got a preview of the proceedings. Also this morning, crisis averted. There are new calls to oust House Speaker Kevin McCarthy in the wake of that too close to call government shutdown that was thankfully headed off over the weekend. How Congress was able to pull it off in the 11th hour. Plus, stinging reaction from the White House. And who is LaFonza Butler, the woman chosen to replace late California Senator Dianne Feinstein? Plus, coming attraction, a return to some sort of normalcy in Hollywood could be coming soon as SAG-AFTRA leaders prepare to return to the bargaining table with the big studios today. Could the writers' resolution spell future success for the actors? And move over Aaron Rodgers. There was a new headliner at yesterday's Jets game against the Chiefs, and her name is Taylor Swift. You know, I was gone for a week.
As you say, while you were gone, the NFL was taken over.
It was. And I love it. And I love how much the conversation is about Queen Taylor and not just the plays.
I think that's going to fade. After this weekend, people are going to start talking about football again, but we'll see.
I'm here, so
all right. Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm happy to be back. I'm Savannah Sellers. We're going to get started here in New York this morning with former President Trump expected to appear in a Manhattan court for the start of his civil fraud trial.
The case is the result of a years-long investigation by New York's Attorney General Letitia James. She filed the $250 million civil lawsuit last year against Trump, his oldest sons, Don Jr. and Eric, their companies, and several executives. The lawsuit alleges that former President Trump and his sons exaggerated their business assets for years in order to secure favorable loan terms from lenders. The Trumps and their company deny any wrongdoing. NBC's Lindsay Reiser is outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. NBC News legal analyst Annie Savalos is here to help us take a closer look at the case. So, Lindsay, let's start with you. This is a bench trial. That means no jury. The judge overseeing the case already ruled last week that Trump lied on his financial statements, that he overvalued his properties. So what's left to be determined in this trial?
Right. Good morning, Joe and Savannah. So the judge did rule those. And in addition, the judge ruled that he was able to get favorable loan terms and lower insurance premiums. So what's at stake now? Well, potential penalties and really the future of Trump's business empire. So Attorney General James is asking for $250 million in penalties and a 5-year ban on former President Trump and his adult sons being able to acquire any new commercial real estate in the next 5 years in the state. So what are a couple of examples that are cited in this case? Trump Tower, of course, the former president's triplex in that penthouse. Well, he valued it at 30,000 square feet, when in reality, it's only 11,000 square feet. So that was an overvaluation of between $114 and $207 million. And then Mar-a-Lago, another example, from 2011 to 2021, an appraiser valued Mar-a-Lago between $18 and $27 million. But Trump's financial statement said they were almost $427 to $612 million. The judge saying in his ruling last week that some of Trump's legal arguments and some of his statements do not exist. They're rather based in a fantasy world, not the real world. Joe and Savannah.
Let's bring in Danny, who's here on set with us. So, Danny, this case is years in the making, and of course, now at this particular moment, among many other cases that are going on. Tell us what you are going to be watching out for today.
One thing that's so interesting, you say it's years in the making. It's actually a year in the making. Letitia James, investigated this case for a long time. That part you're absolutely right about. But a year ago is when this case was filed. Just to give you some perspective, here in New York County, I have cases that I filed back in 2017 that are still waiting for trial. This case has moved with lightning speed to a bench trial. And that's part of it. This is a bench trial. And when you ask what I'm looking for today, this is a very rare creature in really any courthouse, which is a bench trial on a civil case like this with such interesting issues. And this is a bench trial in front of a judge that already gave us kind of a preview of what he thinks of the Trump defendants in this case in his, I think you could call it a scathing decision on a motion for summary judgment. So you're looking for a lot of evidence that to some degree we've already seen in this case, but the state, Letitia James, is going to be pushing to demonstrate to the judge that significant penalties are warranted because Judge Engel already really sliced out much of the heart of this case by deciding the fraud issue before it ever went to trial.
So, Lindsay, we know Trump is in town, expected to be there for a couple days. Could he testify at any point?
Right, that's the question. He's expected to be here Monday and Tuesday, and I can just tell you out here, there is just a gaggle of press lining the courthouse. We've got barricades, more were just put up, police, more police just showing up as well. So security is high today. Now, as far as the witness list, we do have an idea of who we could see. The former president is on that witness list, as are his adult sons and his daughter, Ivanka Trump, Alan Weisselberg, former CEO, who pleaded guilty as part of a wide tax fraud scheme involving the Trump organization, Michael Cohen, the former president's former fixer and attorney. So these are a few names we could hear from. The trial's supposed to last potentially as many as 3 months, but it is possible that that witness list will be shortened, so the trial won't go on for that long. We know the judge is going to hold trial 5 days a week. And we also know what we're hearing from the former president, which is he has called Letitia James a racist. He's called her deranged. He's called this judge overseeing the case a Trump hater beyond even A.G. James. But we also have heard throughout this process from Trump attorneys saying, as we will prove at trial, the attorney general's case is severely flawed and her calculations are entirely inaccurate. Joe and Savannah.
And Danny, before we let you go, just tell us the implications here for Trump's businesses with this civil trial.
So many of these issues, in a sense, we already know what direction this is going, because when Judge Engoron granted summary judgment, he really decided some of the core issues in this case, which is fraud, and also that these business certificates apparently will be canceled. So I think we can fairly predict high likelihood that some of these Trump organizations or entities are going to have some problems with their business certificates. Now, what that means in a system, the Trump ecosystem that has so many interwoven companies, what that means in the long term remains to be seen. But much of this case is already over.
All right, Lindsay, Danny, thank you both for kicking us off this hour. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And also new this morning, California Governor Gavin Newsom has appointed LaFonza Butler to fill the seat and finish the term of longtime Senator Dianne Feinstein, who died last week at the age of 90.
Butler is the president of Emily's List, an organization that works to elect Democratic women to office. The 44-year-old is only the third black woman to serve in the Senate and the first openly LGBTQ person to represent California in the chamber. The appointment comes after Congress worked over the weekend to pass a short-term funding bill averting a government shutdown until at least mid-November. President Biden signed that bill Saturday night.
For more on all this, we are joined by NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Vitale and NBC News White House correspondent Ali Rafa. Ali and Ali, good morning to you both. This will be a last name segment as well, so we make sure you know who we're talking to. Ali Vitale, I'll get started with you and ask you about this selection specifically of LaFonza Butler to the Senate. Explain to us the decision by Governor Gavin Newsom to appoint her to office. We just heard a little bit about her background. What can we expect from her over the next year?
Look, this is a really fascinating pick, not least of all because she's currently registered to vote in Maryland. Of course, she'll be able to change that voter registration and be appointed in California. Nevertheless, this is Gavin Newsom being able to make good on a promise that he made, that he would appoint a black woman to the seat and that it wouldn't be someone who's currently running in this sprawling field of candidates. We already knew that Feinstein was going to step down at the end of her term, so there was a raucous race on for the Democratic primary there. People like Congressman Adam Schiff, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Congresswoman Katie Porter, a lot of members of the California delegation already serving in the House, trying to make the jump over to the Senate right now. But what's interesting in this appointment is that Newsom is making clear, an advisor to him said that the person who he appoints, in this case Butler, is not preempted from running for this seat, which means that Butler could join that very crowded primary field if that's ultimately what she decides to do. But look, there's a lot of other interesting threads to this. This is someone who was a former advisor to then presidential candidate Kamala Harris back in 2020. Of course, now Butler leads Emily's List, which is one of the preemptive organizations that helps elect women to office, with the caveat that they are pro-abortion choice women, pro-choice women who want to be on the ballot in that capacity. So this is not just a nod to someone who elects women to office, but also someone who's protected reproductive freedom.
Let's bring in a Rafa here, talk about the bill that Congress passed to keep the government funded through November 17th. So what was included in that? And what are we hearing from the president after he signed off on it?
Yeah, Joe. Well, this funding bill included disaster relief funds, but notably it did not include any money to bolster security at the border. Remember, that's something that Speaker McCarthy and House Republicans had wanted included in this. And it also didn't include any additional aid for Ukraine. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell actually had to withdraw his own Senate bill that included that aid to Ukraine to be able to boost Speaker McCarthy's chances of getting this passed in the House. And we saw the president speak publicly about this for the first time yesterday. He delivered remarks at the White House, and he said essentially that it didn't even need to come to this in the first place. He talked about this, quote, terrible bargain that he says that Speaker McCarthy had to make with those in the far right of his party to be able to keep his job, but at the risk of taking domestic priorities off the table. And he stressed how important it is for Speaker McCarthy to honor this commitment, this handshake deal that these two made a couple of months ago during that debt ceiling crisis to, in part, include additional aid to Ukraine. Take a listen to some of his remarks yesterday.
The lagging extremists once again have brought us to the brink, this time to a government shutdown, and going back on the deal they made months ago, not keeping their word. Enough is enough is enough. I hope this experience for the Speaker has been one of a personal revelation. I'm not being facetious.
And that aid to Ukraine is still expected to be a big sticking point as this funding bill only lasts for about 6 weeks. It's still unclear whether that's going to be brought up as a standalone bill or whether some border security funds will be tacked onto it to be able to get Republicans on board. So we're still pretty much in a wait and see mode as to how that will be presented.
And Ali Vitale, as we saw this drama unfold over this near shutdown, we've also seen this growing rift among House Republicans, as we've been sort of alluding to. Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz threatening to remove Speaker Kevin McCarthy from his job. Where do things stand on that front?
And promising that he's going to do it as soon as this week. Gaetz is someone who has long said, quite literally, that if McCarthy looked to his left and passed a continuing resolution in bipartisan fashion, he would push on a motion to vacate. That's exactly what happened here, and now Gaetz seems to say that he's going to make good on his promise. This then begs a few questions here. McCarthy basically said, bring it on. Let's do this. You've been threatening this for the entire tenure of my speakership. I'm finally ready to go for it. He thinks that he's going to be fine, but I've spoken to other members who are close to Gaetz who feel like not only is he going to file this motion, but he could be able to potentially drag this out. Now, from the moment that Gaetz introduces this motion, leadership can push the vote for about 2 days. So you can add however many, whatever day he introduces this on, +2 for us to actually get to the vote. But a lot of questions here. Will Democrats save him? Will he get the Republicans he needs? It's going to be pretty chaotic.
Absolutely. Ali Vitale, Ali Rafa, thank you both very much. Good to see you.
So as we mentioned, at the heart of the back and forth over keeping the government open is the war in Ukraine. The deal struck over the weekend included no new money to help that country in its fight against Russia. NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba explains.
Stop playing games. Get this done.
President Biden challenging conservative hardliners in Congress who are trying to block funding for Ukraine.
I can't believe those who voted for supporting Ukraine, overwhelming majority in the House and Senate, Democrat and Republican, will, for pure political reasons, let more people die needlessly in Ukraine.
The president pushing lawmakers to pass a supplemental bill to keep those funds flowing. The U.S. has already sent more than $113 billion in aid to Ukraine as it defends itself against a Russian invasion, much of it used for security and humanitarian assistance. Broad majorities in both parties on Capitol Hill back funding for Ukraine.
To the Republicans who say Ukraine doesn't matter to us, you're wrong. Respectfully, you're wrong. The war gets bigger, not smaller.
But voters are more divided, with 41% in a recent poll saying the U.S. is doing too much to help the country. Now it's up to Congress, and Speaker McCarthy today linked the money for Ukraine to additional border security as a way to get both sides on board.
There is a need for Ukraine. I support being able to provide the weapons to Ukraine, but America comes first.
Now, the White House can draw from an existing stockpile of weapons for at least the next several weeks to sustain Ukraine's battlefield needs. But a U.S. official tells me there's real concern about what happens after that if there isn't an agreement soon. Back to you.
Monica, thank you so much.
Well, police in upstate New York are desperately searching for a 9-year-old girl who went missing while camping with her family over the weekend. Authorities are now warning that they believe she is in imminent danger. NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch has the details.
A desperate search in upstate New York for Charlotte Senna, the 9-year-old last seen late Saturday on a family camping trip, who authorities believe is in imminent danger.
They shared with me how joyful their little girl is. A 4th grader just recently elected to be a class officer for student council.
New York's governor says around 6:15 last night, about 200 miles north of New York City, Charlotte was riding her bike with friends in Moreau Lake State Park.
She just wanted to go around one more time by herself. Be that big girl, do it by herself. Literally 15 minutes later, she hadn't come back yet. And that's really when the nightmare begins. Her parents knew immediately something was up.
State police say the 4th grader's bike was found, but not Charlotte.
The scene was chaotic. People leaving their food, leaving their tables, just everyone in search, calling the name Charlotte. Charlotte.
State police activating an Amber Alert.
She was last seen wearing an orange tie-dye Pokemon shirt, dark blue pants, black Crocs, and a gray bike helmet.
Authorities already searching the park by air with sonar in the water and with canines.
Hopefully there'll be a family that has been traumatized but is reunited.
In a statement, Charlotte's family saying, "We just want her returned safely like any parent would. No tip is too small. Please for help to bring Charlotte home." Jesse Kirsch, NBC News.
All right, for many, unseasonably warm weather is kicking off this October.
That's right. Michelle Grossman is with us this morning to tell us more about that and give us our forecast. Hey, Michelle, good morning.
Hey there, guys. Great to see you. And we're going to be really warm. We're looking at temperatures anywhere from 10 up to 25 degrees above what is typical for this time of year. So a really warm start to October. Take a look at some of these numbers. Even Minneapolis near 90 degrees. That's 24 degrees above average as I get to 88 degrees later on this afternoon. 90s in Kansas City and Memphis, 87 degrees in Chicago. Really warm into the Northeast as well. We're looking at Pittsburgh, 81 degrees. That's 13 degrees above what is typical for this time of year. But look at this temperature divide. We have a cold front that's straight from New Mexico all the way to North Dakota. Back behind this front, we're looking at cool conditions, wet in some spots. Salt Lake City, almost 20 degrees below average today at 55. In the mid-70s in Las Vegas. That sounds warm, but still 13 degrees below what they're used to for this time of year. Then tomorrow, we're looking at another set of 80s and 90s as we go throughout Tuesday. 90 degrees in St. Louis, 84 in Green Bay, 21 degrees above average, 91 in Little Rock. That heat extends down to Houston, also Dallas, and to Birmingham into the mid-80s, 81 degrees in Lynchburg. And we're looking at a really warm Boston tomorrow, too, 80 degrees, 14 degrees above average. Still cool back behind this cold front as well. We're looking at Cheyenne, 62, a little bit below average, and into the 50s in Salt Lake City, 15 degrees below what is typical for this time of year. This pattern is going to stay in place as we go throughout Wednesday as well. We're still really warm on Wednesday into the 80s in Chicago, but notice that trail off as we get towards Thursday, also Friday. That's that cold front that's making its way towards the east. It's going to eventually make it into the Northeast by this weekend. So fall-like weather does return, but we're still really warm in Cincinnati on Wednesday, on Thursday. Same story in New York City, still in the 80s as we head towards Wednesday. Here's that cold front that I was talking about. Back behind it, we're really cool. Ahead of it, we're summer-like. But along this front, we're looking at some heavy rain that will maybe 2 inches per hour at times. We're looking at heavy mountain snow, too, in portions of mountains in the Utah area. We're looking at 8 inches in some spots. And then on the tail end of this, we're looking at a severe weather risk, strong to severe storms as we head throughout the later part of today, especially once that daytime heating gets going. So parts of southern Colorado into western Texas, also New Mexico. That's the story today. That cold front's going to make its way towards the east tomorrow. So then we're talking about the central plains, looking at some really heavy rain. Could see some storms, too. Storms capable of strong winds, some large hail. Tornadoes are possible as well. This is Tuesday around 8 o'clock into the later evening hours, the nighttime hours. Also looking at that heavy rain falling as well. In terms of that rainfall, we're looking at anywhere from 1 up to 2 inches. But some of that rainfall in some spots could be 2 inches per hour. So we could see some really heavy rain as we go throughout today, also tomorrow. The severe weather threat, mentioning portions of New Mexico, especially western Texas, we're looking at winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour. Some large hail. The tornado risk is low today, but not zero. And then tomorrow, that tornado risk gets a little bit higher as we look towards the central plains. But look at all that sunshine in most of the eastern part of the nation. So after that really long stretch of raw weather for us in the Northeast. We're looking at some nice conditions.
It's our reward week.
Yeah, we deserve it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know. I was watching that from afar, like, wow, I can't believe what you guys dealt with last week.
We watched you from afar, too. We were jealous. Let's be honest.
See you in a little bit.
Sure.
Coming up on Morning News Now, the trending full-body MRI scan that's catching the eyes of some top celebrities. But is it right for you? We'll take a closer look later in the hour.
But first, devastation in Spain over the weekend after a deadly fire ripped through a popular nightclub there, killing more than a dozen people. We have the latest after this. We're back with a closer look at the devastating scene of this weekend's nightclub fire in Spain. It killed more than a dozen people as friends and family were celebrating birthdays. NBC News foreign correspondent Raf Sanchez reports.
Fire crews battling their way through the remains of this popular Spanish nightclub. Half-finished drinks still on the table as firefighters take on the flames. The enormous blaze ripping through the roof, gutting neighboring buildings, and filling the street with terrified onlookers. At least 13 people, most of them young, were killed in the fire, according to the mayor. And emergency crews searching the wreckage for those still missing. We don't know anything. We're waiting for news to see whether some of our family members have come out alive, he says. The tragedy unfolding in the city of Murcia in southeastern Spain. The fire broke out at around 6 a.m. at the Teatro nightclub, where Spanish media says several birthday parties were taking place. The alarms went off and all the lights went out and people were screaming fire, this man says. I could get out, but 5 family members and 2 friends are missing. The cause of the blaze still unclear. The city has declared 3 days of mourning, lowering flags to half staff. And Spain's prime minister saying, my love and solidarity with the victims and families of the tragic fire. Another night of celebration turning into a day of tragedy. Raf Sanchez, NBC News.
Let's stay on more international news now, and rescuers are on the hunt for survivors after a church roof collapsed during a mass in northern Mexico.
NBC News foreign correspondent Claudio Labonga joins us with that and other news from around the world. Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, guys. That's right. Authorities in Mexico say that at least 10 people have now died and 60 others were injured after a church roof collapsed on worshippers during Sunday Mass. Now, another 30 people were still believed to be trapped under the rubble, and rescuers worked throughout the night in a race against time to pull them out alive. A local bishop, Jose Armando Alvarez, said the church collapsed on worshippers while they were receiving communion. Let's go to Iraq now, where on Sunday authorities said that gross negligence and a lack of safety measures are to blame for the death of more than 100 people in a fire that swept through a crowded wedding hall last week. Iraq's interior minister said the owner of the wedding hall allowed 900 people in a venue designed for a maximum of 400, and that while the fire was accidental and unintentional, it spread quickly due to the flammable natures of the decorations used in the celebration. Well, let's end this a short tour of the world in Indonesia, where a high-speed railway that will dramatically cut travel between the capital and another major city will be inaugurated today. The Chinese-made bullet train will allow passengers to travel between the capital, Jakarta, and the city of Bandung in just 40 minutes, down from a previous 3 hours. Now, the $7 billion project was largely funded by China and is a key project in China's Belt and Road Infrastructure Initiative. Back to you guys.
All right, Claudio, thank you so much.
Coming up, full-body MRIs. It's a pricey procedure that has been trending lately among some top celebrities like Kim Kardashian.
But what exactly is it, and why are some medical professionals now sounding the alarm? Our doctor is in up next. Welcome back. Another massive strike is set to begin this week, impacting health care for millions across the country. Kaiser Permanente workers are preparing to walk off the job starting Wednesday. NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz has the story.
In this season of labor strikes,
we are the future.
With the United Auto Workers taking on GM, Ford, and Stellantis,
Union power! Union power!
And the Actors Guild continuing to picket Hollywood studios.
Kaiser tricks will not divide. Workers standing side by side.
Preparations are underway now for what could be the biggest healthcare workers strike in U.S. history.
Our coalition is 1/3 of Kaiser's workforce, so it will have a huge impact.
75,000 healthcare workers at Kaiser Permanente are poised for a 3-day strike beginning Wednesday, targeting hundreds of facilities across California, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. Workers protesting what they say is Kaiser's short staffing crisis that puts patients at risk from long wait times for care.
At the union office here in Los Angeles, members preparing for this strike tell us they have been pushed to the brink from the COVID pandemic and that their pay has not kept up with inflation or their workload.
I see workers that are doing the jobs of 2 to 3 people. So we're running around, we're stressed, we're busy, we're exhausted.
Kaiser Permanente, which has 39 hospitals and more than 620 medical facilities nationwide, says it's hired more than 50,000 frontline workers in the last 2 years despite labor shortages, and that it's, quote, optimistic that we'll reach an agreement and avoid this unnecessary strike. But the workers set to walk the picket line, which includes some nurses, lab technicians, pharmacists, and therapists, say Kaiser executives have been refusing to bargain in good faith.
Our thanks to Liz Kreutz for that report. Well, in terms of the impact this could have on patients, in California, Kaiser Permanente has 9.4 million customers. The nonprofit healthcare provider is also the largest private employer in the state, so even a limited 3-day strike could have massive implications.
More and more celebrities like Kim Kardashian are taking to social media to tout the benefits of full-body MRIs as a form of preventative medical care. TV host Maria Menounos even credited the procedure with alerting her to a mass that turned out to be pancreatic cancer.
But for regular people, the procedure's not cheap, and now some medical experts are also concerned the new trend could potentially harm more than it helps.
For more, we're joined by NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel. Doctor, good to have you with us. So help us set the record straight. What are the concerns here, and can it really, a full-body MRI, help prevent diseases like cancer or catch things earlier?
Yeah, good morning, Joe and Savannah. So the most important thing with any screening test is that you want to make sure that if it's positive, it's a real positive. If it's negative, meaning you don't find anything, that it's a real negative. And I think that's the issue with full-body MRI scans. We hear about, and I think it's very important to kind of validate that someone who has had a finding, that's a real finding. But we have no idea, because these tests are not broadly used, how many people could have had something but that was missed, because in a full body MRI scan, you don't necessarily use as many images or as much precise detail as a more targeted MRI or a targeted CT scan, which is a different technology.
So many of these full body MRIs, as we're talking about, they're really expensive and they're often not covered by insurance. Right. You know, that's usually something that your doctor's just one scan kind of piecemeal type of thing that you're getting done as maybe symptoms come up or something. So if you are concerned about something going on with you, say a potential cancer risk, are there some inexpensive options?
Yeah, I think the key here is kind of understanding the risks and talking that over. Savannah, I have many patients, and I'm going to put myself in that category. If you have a family history of something, you're just trying to explore any possible options to make sure that you don't have cancer anywhere. And the cancer, by the way, is the most common concern people come in with. So what I usually start with is recommending, is this somebody, because of their family history, they need blood testing that looks for genetic risks, and then that can inform some further testing. We look for specific things like heart disease with other more specific targeted tests towards the heart. That can involve blood tests, things like EKGs. So my recommendation is always to probe a little deeper. If it's a general concern about everything, which is I think what you're hearing a lot of celebrities talk about, they just want to see if they're healthy or they just want to live longer. I think that deserves a lot more attention into what is it you're really trying to eliminate? Is it the anxiety of dying? Is it the fear that you might get something? And then probe into that a little further. Doing one test that gives you potentially false reassurance is not the answer.
So when does a full body MRI make sense?
Yeah, we do order full body MRI scans in specific cases. We use them in those people that do have certain genetic risks. We also use them in prostate cancer and to look for things like metastatic breast cancer and ovarian cancer. They do get used, and they get used appropriately. I look forward to a day when we have a cheap and easy body screening tool. Today is not that day.
Dr. Kavita Patel, useful information. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Well, there are new developments in the ongoing legal battle between former NFL player Michael Oher and the Tuohy family, whose story was the basis for the movie The Blind Side. A judge ruled to end the conservatorship between the two parties, even calling the agreement disturbing. NBC News correspondent Erin McLaughlin has the latest.
Do you have any place to stay tonight?
Another off-screen twist in the Blind Side story. A judge giving a harsh rebuke before ending the decades-long conservatorship between former NFL player Michael Oher and the Tuohy family.
I would like to become a legal guardian.
The Tennessee judge saying she was disturbed that this kind of agreement was ever reached, saying in her 43-year career she had never seen a conservatorship like this one with someone who was not disabled, adding, "I cannot believe it got done."
A conservatee is normally somebody who can't take care of their own financial and other affairs by themselves. So they need a conservator to handle those things for them.
The headline-grabbing case will continue. Oher requested the Tuohy family provide an accounting of the money they may have gotten from the agreement.
We thank you for bringing us a new friend.
The Memphis family took Oher in when he was in high school, becoming his guardians as he became a football star.
You take a child like that and you bring him in and you love him and you clothe him and you feed him. It's just amazing the transformation that takes place.
Their story then lighting up the big screen in the Oscar-winning film The Blind Side, starring Sandra Bullock.
Those are my kids. Those are my kids.
In August, Oher filed a bombshell petition saying the couple misled him into thinking they were adopting him and instead placed him in a conservatorship, describing his side of the story in his 2011 book, I Beat the Odds.
They explained to me that it means pretty much the exact same thing as adoptive parents, but that the laws were just written in a way that took my age into account. Honestly, I didn't care what it was called. I was just happy that no one could argue that we weren't legally what we already knew was real. We were a family.
The petition going on to say that Oher never received any payment from The Blind Side, which grossed over $300 million.
If the judge sees that the Tuohys took advantage of the conservatorship and of Oher, then she could disgorge those benefits, claw them back, and give them to Oher.
The Tuohy family denying these allegations, calling the move a shakedown.
These people are truly devastated. I mean, this was their son. This was somebody they treated as a son who has made public these allegations that are just ludicrous.
Oher now legally separated from the Tuohys, but their legal battle over millions still remains. Erin McLaughlin, NBC News.
Coming up, it is back to the bargaining table for SAG-AFTRA leaders and the big studios today.
Could a potential deal be coming soon as Hollywood's writers head back to work? We've got more on that next.
We're back with financial headlines. Microsoft CEO expected to head to court today testifying in a major antitrust trial against Google.
CNBC's Silvana Hanau has the details on that and some other financial headlines for us. Hey, Silvana, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. Good morning, Joe. Yeah, so Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella is expected to testify today as a witness in the Justice Department's antitrust case against Google. The government argues Google, which controls 90% of the search market, illegally paid billions of dollars a year to smartphone makers like Apple and wireless carriers like AT&T to be the default search engine on their devices. Nadella will likely be asked about Microsoft's efforts to expand the reach of its Edge browser and Bing search engine and the hurdles posed by Google's dominance. Several Amazon customers taking to social media this weekend saying they received a series of false emails from the company about gift cards they never bought. Amazon's customer service reps getting a number of calls from people concerned their accounts may have been hacked. In a statement to CNBC, Amazon says an error in its system led to the emails being sent to customers. It says their accounts are safe and they can ignore those messages. And nearly 60% of adults say their wallets have been impacted by extreme weather over the past decade. This includes hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, earthquakes, flooding, and heavy snow. A new report from Bankrate finds higher energy costs are the most common expense, followed by spoiled food due to a power outage and home and property damage. About 3/4 of people say they experienced higher than usual electric bills this summer, with more than half saying these bills strained their finances, guys.
Yeah, those AC bills were rather high this summer. All right.
They really are.
Still, actually, here in the Northeast.
Yes, agreed. Yep.
Thanks, Ivana. Appreciate it.
Well, for the first time in more than 3.5 years, federal student loan payments have resumed after pausing in March 2020 due to the COVID pandemic. It's another reminder of how the price of a college degree just keeps getting more expensive year after year, and it's leading some to question whether a traditional degree is really the only way to go. NBC News Now anchor Gotti Schwartz takes a closer look.
We know college tuition has gone up over the past few decades, but this episode of Jeopardy paints a very clear picture.
1985 tuition was a bit over $7,000 at this Durham, North Carolina university. In 2024, the cost will be north of $63,000. David?
What is Duke?
Correct.
The cost of going to a public university is 3 times higher now than it was back in 1980. In the early 80s, the average tuition for a 4-year college plus room and board was about $10,000, adjusted for inflation. Today, that number is closer to $30,000. The amount an average student takes out in loans, about $28,000, and the amount of Americans who have student loan debt, 45 million.
I was hearing people, oh, I paid my loans off in my 30s, and I was still, and my 30s came and went, and the payments were still coming and not stopping.
When the pandemic hit, federal loan payments were put on pause, but that could only last for so long. Then came the fight over student loan forgiveness. Biden saying he was going to cancel up to $20,000 for those with student loans, and the Supreme Court saying, nope, you don't have the authority, and stressed out borrowers were now back to square one.
Oh, I wasn't going to pay. My thoughts were, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe that you guys went back on your word, the inconsistency, I was so hopeful, and I was honestly grateful. I was actually grateful to the government for a couple seconds. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, and that's kind of scary.
The whole debate has many rethinking whether a college degree is worth the cost these days. According to a 2017 Harvard business study, 61% of employees say they rejected candidates who had the right skills and experience for the job only because they didn't have a 4-year degree. But critics question if it's really always necessary.
I wouldn't say a college degree is necessarily worth it. Doing what I do now, I definitely didn't need my college degree. I think my college degree helped me get a job outside of college, but it doesn't have much utility beyond that.
And some companies are taking pride in bucking the traditional recruiting mold.
There's no need even to have a college degree at all, or even high school. I mean, if somebody graduated from a great university, that may be an indication that they will be capable of great things, but it's not necessarily the case.
Within the next decade, 60% of all new jobs will be in occupations that don't require an associate or bachelor's degree, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. IBM even coined the term new collar and is encouraging applicants without degrees to apply, designing programs for non-college grads to hone skills rather than degrees. Bank of America and Dell are also dropping some of their degree requirements, even for entry-level positions that are double the minimum wage. So as the debt standoff plays out in Washington, a lot of prospective students are rethinking higher ed.
Our thanks to Gotti Schwartz for that report. Well, the government is giving borrowers a year to get fully back on track. Missed payments over the next 12 months won't be reported to credit bureaus.
That is some good news there. All right. Today, Hollywood could take a big step toward returning to normal, with popular late-night shows making their return tonight. And actors will be sitting down at the bargaining table with studio executives. The SAG-AFTRA union officially went on strike 80 days ago, citing many of the same issues that were at the center of the recently resolved writers' strike. For more, we're joined by TV host and pop culture expert Andrew Freud. Good to have you with us. So who do we think is going to be at the meeting today, and where do things stand now between the actors in the studios?
Well, of course, the president of the Screen Actors Guild, Fran Drescher, will be there. The chief negotiator, Duncan Crabtree Ireland, will be there. And then we are expecting the top 4 media CEOs will be there. Donna Langley, of course, from NBC Universal, Ted Sarandos from Netflix, Bob Iger from Disney, and David Zaslav from Warner Brothers Discovery. And we are expecting, I'm fingers crossed, that they are going to really go down the line and make this deal, because the writers just obviously made their deal. And, you know, AI, everyone's talking about AI. That's, you know, one of the biggest sticking points is we need to have some kind of control over it. I mean, even can affect us. There could be AI newscasters, there could be AI actors. So they really want to, basically get transparency on how the studios are going to control that.
Right, absolutely. Which would be sort of interesting because it's so out of control in so many industries. If this is one that really takes a first step. Walk us through the differences between the writer's strike that was just resolved and this one. And does the fact that the writer's strike was resolved kind of put pressure on this one to get on track?
It definitely puts a lot of pressure, but one of the big things that I think people don't think about is the Writers Guild has 11,500 members.
Okay.
The Screen Actors Guild has 160,000. So it's a much bigger organization. They have a lot of power, but there's going to be a lot of, similar things. One of the things is viewership transparency. Right now, the streamers, they don't give out numbers. So when you're making sort of deals, you could kind of, not get the best deal because you don't know how many people are. But now the Writers Guild, they are getting transparency in numbers. They're going to be confidential. They're not going to be released to the public. But the people making the deals are going to know how many people are watching these shows, for how long, and if it's a lot of people, they'll be compensated appropriately.
Which is going to be key to getting the money that they want to get. And so, I mean, speaking of the writers' agreement, could that be a little bit of a blueprint here? I mean, the two biggest sticking issues for both of these strikes are things we really didn't have to deal with before. Streaming residuals and AI, so they're kind of starting from scratch. The writers are settled. Could that help with the actors?
It's definitely going to help. And the other thing that's going to help is how they're going to handle residual income and royalties. For example, I'm on a TV show. I rely on my royalty income and residual income. And now, because of the transparency and viewership numbers, you're going to be compensated appropriately. So what the WGA did was they X'd out, specific amounts of money per how big the budget is on a show. Same thing is probably going to apply to the Screen Actors Guild as well.
Lots of details to sort out. We'll see if they can. The fact that the big four are supposed to be in the room suggests.
Yes, we need them in the room, and they want to get it done, and we want to get Hollywood back to work, and I want to be able to interview actors again.
About things that aren't like, tell me more about your music career.
Tell me about your book club.
And don't mention that movie we're really
Don't talk about the movie.
Andrew Freud, thank you so much. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. Good to see you. Well, coming up, Olympic superstar Simone Biles stunning the crowd in her triumphant return to international competition.
We have got the history-making highlights and what we know about her mindset heading into 2024, the Paris Olympics. That's next.
Welcome back. As expected, Taylor Swift made her second appearance in a row at a Kansas City Chiefs game, cheering on tight end Travis Kelce as his team beat the New York Jets 23-20. This is amid these romance rumors, and Swift was spotted with her arm around Kelce's mom, Donna. A ton of her famous friends too were also at MetLife Stadium, right across the river in New Jersey, including Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Sophie Turner. Once it was confirmed that she would be attending, ticket sales doubled as football continues to experience the Taylor Swift effect. The NFL writing in their Twitter bio, we had the best day with you today. Pictures of Taylor taking over. I mean, it's amazing. And by the way, she looks like the cheer captain and she's in the bleachers. You know what I'm saying, Joe?
Exactly. There you go. I mean, it's good for the NFL right now, I'll tell you that. And Hugh Jackman was there too, right? It's
it's crazy, the number of people in that box. And she's been hanging out with Patrick Mahomes' wife, Brittany. I mean, it's just like, she's in there.
It's a thing. All right. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned for next week.
Yeah,
all right.
Right.
Thanks, Savannah. For the first time since withdrawing from multiple events at the Tokyo Olympics, gymnastics superstar Simone Biles is set to return to international competition this week. The 26-year-old plans to take part in the 2023 World Gymnastics Championships in Belgium, which is the same place where she won her first world title a decade ago. For more, we are joined by senior writer at The Athletic, Kaylin Kaler. Good to have you with us. So, as we all know, it was a case of the twisties that derailed Biles at the Tokyo Olympics, but it also sparked that much-needed conversation around mental health and sports. So, what do we know about her mindset right now as she heads into these World Championships?
Yeah, so Simone has not officially told us that she is going for the Paris Olympics, but it's obvious that she is still at the very top of her game. And already at this World Championships, they've only gone through qualifying for the team competition so far. So nothing official, just to qualify to get into that women's team final on Wednesday. And already she has her fifth skill that will be named after her officially now. She landed the Yurchenko double pike vault, which is the hardest vault that women are doing. She is the only woman to do it. And she landed it in international competition, which means it is now officially named after her. So she is really doing her best gymnastics right now. So we can all infer she will be at Paris in 2024.
Yeah, she seemed to suggest to Hoda it was more likely than not. Maybe this upcoming week will give us some more final clues. So, I mean, she's already the most successful gymnast of all time, but she is constantly looking for ways to build on her legacy. Talk more about maybe new things we could maybe see from her this week.
Yeah, so as I said, she's going to keep debuting that vault, which is now named after her. She has the top all-around score right now, which is no surprise. Charlize Jones, another American, is in second in the all-around score. That competition won't officially happen until later this week, but this is based off of their qualifying scores. The Team USA, Simone is leading Team USA to a huge score in qualifying. They scored 177 points, which as of right now, there are more teams qualifying today, but that puts them 15 points ahead of the second place team. So that just kind of shows you how good and how far above this American team is, and they are led by Simone Biles.
Hey, let's talk more about Team USA, because it really underwent this sort of massive overhaul with new leadership. I mean, what more should we know about those changes for Team USA?
Yeah, so previously Team USA was led by one director, and now instead of a one-person leadership structure, it is now three people, as you're seeing, Chelsea Memel, Dan Baker, and Alicia Sacramone-Quinn. They are together creating the national team, running the national team camps, and deciding who is representing the USA in a national competition. The biggest difference that the gymnasts have said is that they are creating a culture that's much more relaxed than the Caroli culture, which preceded this, and even the Tom Forster culture, which was right before this. So USAG is really trying its best to clean up its image and to support its gymnasts' mental health and physical health, which is something they hadn't been doing in the past, and something that Simone, it's part of her legacy. As you mentioned, she had the twisties in the last Olympics, and she's been very vocal about needing mental health support.
All right. Kaylin Kaler, thanks so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And finally, at this hour, a major shift in a male-dominated tradition. A group of women in Northern California are reclaiming lowrider culture for a new generation. NBC News' Jose Diaz-Balart has more.
In Northern California, a group of women is leading a new generation, cruising together in style. Fueled by a passion for their beloved lowriders and their Latino culture.
It's a fun culture. We enjoy it.
Classic cars with candy-colored paint, tricked out to defy gravity.
That's what I'm talking about. We working out here.
But this car club culture also carries a much deeper meaning.
It was born out west more than 70 years ago as a way for Mexican Americans to connect with their community.
And now, a major shift in this mostly male tradition. Latinas like Debbie Martin and Ana Abad from the Lady Lowriders United are part of a growing group of women using their own cars to drive change.
Something that was all guys is now totally different.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Now it's grandmothers, grandkids, nieces, nephews, cousins.
It's really nice to see because you can see it's generational. It's a family thing.
Now behind the wheel, the group is uniting to empower other women, showing off their rides and raising tens of thousands of dollars for various causes close to their hearts.
How do you give back to the community?
I think that's the most important thing that we do. I think most of us have come from families that needed help when we were young, and we were on the receiving end. So now it's our time to give back.
Rosie Navarro brings daughter Lisette to each event in her 61 Impala.
I believe that the culture behind it comes with a passion, with unity, with family, with bringing people together.
Setting a new example for a new era of lady lowriders.
We're very proud to be Mexican American.
Because I'm proud of who I am, what we represent. I'm proud of our culture.
Amazing. Our thanks to Jose for that story. And the Lady Lowriders are gearing up for their next big adventure, their annual Thanksgiving event to help feed families in need.
Helping so many people. All right, that's cool. That does it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now. Good morning. It's good to be with you this Monday. I'm Savannah Sellers.
And I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now. Open for now. Congress passes an 11th hour short-term funding bill to keep the government open for 45 days. But President Biden warns the so-called MAGA Republicans will be back to try and thwart the next deal.
MAGA extremists once again have brought us to the brink. Enough is enough is enough. This is not that complicated. The brinkmanship has to end.
More on that, plus the mounting pressure on House Speaker Kevin McCarthy in the wake of Saturday's last-ditch deal. Also this morning, see you in court. Former President Donald Trump set to appear in a New York courtroom for the start of a $250 million civil suit over allegations of fraud. The trial comes a day after a bullish Trump predicted a major win in the Iowa caucus while on the campaign trail. Hitting the brakes, a Michigan auto supplier is laying off hundreds of workers days after the UAW decided to expand its strike action against the big three car companies. We've got the latest on that walkout, which is now in its third week. Plus, horror fans rejoice. Saw 10 kicks off Scream Fest season with a solid box office showing. We'll take a closer look at the newest installment in the franchise, plus all the other spooky offerings hitting screens this month. Be a big horror movie person?
Yes, and I love to get into, just it's like spooky content starts tonight. What about you?
No, I hate them.
Oh. So does my husband, but in this month he'll allow it. Yeah.
But I like the Halloween aura all overall.
Yeah, there you go. Spooky season. All right, we get started this morning, though, in Washington, where the federal government remains open and will continue to be so for at least the next 6 weeks or so.
Yeah, Congress narrowly avoided a shutdown after agreeing to a short-term funding bill, keeping the government open through November 17th. But House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's job could be in jeopardy, with far-right members upset about how he handled the bipartisan deal. NBC News senior Capitol Hill correspondent Jarrett has the latest.
It was a wild weekend on Capitol Hill, with a shutdown looking all but certain on Saturday morning. But then a bipartisan breakthrough, mounting drama, and at the 11th hour, a presidential signature, avoiding what would have been a self-made crisis. But now that drama continues, with the House Speaker forced to defend his decisions and his gavel. This morning, a government shutdown sidestepped, for now. Congress passing an extension of federal funding for 45 days. President Biden signing the bipartisan bill late Saturday night, just before the midnight deadline. On Sunday, pushing lawmakers to seek a long-term deal quickly.
I strongly urge my Republican friends in Congress not to wait.
But even the short-term bill's path to passage was a rocky one, a bipartisan plan only emerging after Republicans failed on Friday to pass a party line bill. Speaker McCarthy on Saturday shifting course and courting Democratic votes.
There has to be an adult in the room. I am going to govern what is best for this country.
Then, as Republicans rushed the bill to the floor, New York Democrat Jamal Bowman pulled a fire alarm on Capitol Hill, later calling it an accident. Republicans accusing him of attempting to delay the vote and calling for punishment.
It's very dangerous. I don't know what happened.
And the drama doesn't end with final passage. Florida Republican Matt Gaetz now planning to force a vote to remove McCarthy this week for what he says is a long list of broken promises.
I think we need to rip off the Band-Aid. The one thing everybody has in common is that nobody trusts Kevin McCarthy.
The speaker firing back.
Yes, I'll survive. He's more interested in securing TV interviews than doing something.
Congressman Gaetz says he'll start the process to remove the speaker this week, with a 2-day window to hold a vote after he does. And while there are certainly other conservatives who are upset at the speaker, most House Republicans do still support him. So it really comes down to what Democrats want to do. Do they vote to get rid of a Republican speaker that they don't trust in exchange for a different Republican speaker who they don't know? Or do they vote to keep the speaker they did just work with to fund the government? It's the big question on Capitol Hill this week.
All right, Garrett, thank you so much.
Well, Congress may have been able to avoid a government shutdown at the last minute, but several questions remain unanswered this morning, including the future of funding for the war in Ukraine.
Congress did not include any aid in its continuing resolution as support for the war declines among Americans. Now, Ukraine's leaders await their future as the U.S. debates government spending over the next 45 days.
NBC News Chief Foreign Correspondent Richard Engel joins us now for more on this. Hi, Richard. Thanks very much for being here. It's good to see you. So President Biden addressed Congress on Sunday, calling on Republican leaders to honor their deal to draft separate legislation addressing aid to Ukraine. Let's listen to a little bit of that talk on the other side.
I hope my friends on the other side keep their word about support for Ukraine. They said they're going to support Ukraine in a separate vote. We cannot, under any circumstance, allow American support for Ukraine to be interrupted. I fully expect the Speaker to keep his commitment to secure the passage and support needed to help Ukraine as they defend themselves against aggression and brutality.
So, Richard, what is the main argument here for this not being included in that continuing resolution? And then what needs to happen to get the aid secured for Ukraine?
So this is really a question of domestic politics in the United States. For Ukraine, the issue is very simple. They say that they need funding, and they do need funding, and they do need weapons in order to continue to defend the country against Russian aggression and Russia's ongoing invasion and attacks on the country. But they do realize now that support globally for an open-ended conflict is drying up. They're watching it happen in the United States. They're watching it happen in Eastern Europe. There are elections in Poland coming up, and Polish officials have also started vocally questioning how much money is spent to continue to allow Ukraine and help Ukraine defend itself against the Russian invasion. So they're feeling very nervous. I think you said it perfectly when you said they feel like they are on borrowed time. They are operating on other countries' political schedules and because of their own domestic politics outside the borders. I haven't seen Ukrainians as nervous as they are right now. They know that this war at this moment doesn't depend on them, that they're fighting, they're sending their sons and daughters to the front lines, and then they are watching somewhat helplessly the debates going on in the United States, in Europe, in Eastern Europe about their future. And President Zelensky and others are talking about appeasement, and they say, don't go down this road. Don't appease Vladimir Putin. Don't allow him to have 15 to 20% of Ukraine and hope that the situation will get better in a few years. But it is not up to them because they are dependent on foreign funding and foreign weapons.
Richard,
but right now, the Ukrainians aren't saying very much. They are not. President Zelensky, because he recognizes that he's in a weak position, isn't weighing into this debate with the full use of his authority and his voice. He's not lashing out at Speaker McCarthy. He's not lashing out at the Republicans because they know that could only make things worse.
Richard, help us understand just the actual, no worries, the actual consequences of a lack of funding from America or potentially from other Western allies. How would that actually impact the ongoing war?
In many different ways. It impacts it on the immediate term, that right now Russian forces occupy close to 20% of the country. And they have defensive positions. They hold large parts of the east and the south, a band of territory that connects the Crimean Peninsula to mainland Russia. And that is areas that they hold. So without ongoing support for Ukraine, they would not be able, the Ukrainians wouldn't be able to try and take that territory back, and that territory would effectively be lost. Now, some might say that area is effectively lost already. So what's the point of spending more to allow Ukrainians to try and take back territory that they so far been unable to take back? Well, the Russian front lines are not fixed. They are also advancing in some places. So if you stop funding the war in Ukraine or the Ukrainians' ability to defend themselves, not only will they lose the territory potentially permanently or for a very long time that they have already lost to Russia, but Russian troops could make further advances and do another type of offensive heading toward Kyiv or other Ukrainian cities.
Richard Engel, as always, we appreciate you providing context in your reporting here. Thank you so much.
Former President Trump is expected to appear in court later today for the start of his civil fraud trial. The case was brought by New York's Attorney General. It accuses Mr. Trump, his adult sons, and his company of fraud by overinflating the values of their properties over the years. The Trumps and their company deny any wrongdoing. NBC News senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett has more on this.
Hey there, Mr. Trump is no stranger to legal jeopardy, but this one, guys, is different, with the future of his business empire on the line. Now, it's a civil case. There is no jury, but the stakes are sky high, with the judge already imposing a major legal blow.
Overnight, Donald Trump arriving at Trump Tower, ahead of the trial in the city he once called home.
It's a disgrace.
The former president, his sons, and his namesake company facing a $250 million civil fraud suit brought by the state's attorney general, accusing the Trump organization and its executives of overstating his properties and assets by billions, lying on their annual financial statements to get more favorable loan terms. It's a case 4 years in the making, kicked off after Michael Cohen, Mr. Trump's former fixer, said this in front of Congress.
It was my experience that Mr. Trump inflated his total assets when it served his purposes.
Assets like his apartment at Trump Tower, accused of falsely claiming on financial statements it was 30,000 square feet, when in fact it's a little under 11,000. Mr. Trump has denied all wrongdoing, often accusing the Attorney General Tish James, a Democrat, of weaponizing her office against him, including when he sat for depositions in this case.
This whole thing is very unfair.
While his lawyers have argued his lenders never lost any money, the judge overseeing the case didn't buy it, concluding Ms. James's office had proven fraud. Writing in a decision last week, Mr. Trump's financial statements clearly contain fraudulent valuations, dismissing his lawyers' claims as, quote, a fantasy world, not the real world. Judge Engel even canceling the business certificates that allow Mr. Trump's companies to operate in the state. What now remains for trial? Allegations of falsifying business records, insurance fraud, and the size of any ultimate penalty. The state signaling it may call the former president to the witness stand.
If Mr. Trump should take the stand, the Attorney General cannot force him to answer any questions. But if he pleads the fifth, she can ask the judge to make a negative inference about that. Meanwhile, Mr. Trump already taking to social media to attack that same judge overnight. Back to you.
All right, Laura Jarrett, thank you so much. Well, it's now week 3 of the United Auto Workers strike, but both sides are still no closer to reaching a deal as thousands more joined the picket lines this morning.
The union has authorized a third walkout against both Ford and General Motors, prompting a heated exchange of words between the union's president and representatives from the two companies. Stellantis was not included in the strike expansion. UAW says that it made significant progress with the company.
NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch joins us now from Ohio with the latest on all this. Hey, Jesse, good morning. So we know the UAW president called for 7,000 more employees, in fact, to go on strike on Friday. Where do things stand now?
Yes, so Savannah and Joe, good morning to you. At this point, the stalemate continues between the big three automakers and the UAW. Worth keeping in mind, though, that the union can make a deal with any one of these companies at any time, so there could potentially be a breakthrough with one automaker with strikes ongoing for the other two. As you mentioned, the UAW just expanded its strike again on Friday. This is starting to become a pattern, a playbook they keep going to, where they expand at specific sites at specific companies and withhold some of the automakers, or at least one of the automakers, from being hit. And that's what happened on Friday. We saw that Stellantis averted getting hit with further striking, the union saying that there was progress made at the last minute. GM and Ford were both hit, though, and for Ford, this is notable because just a week earlier, Ford had gotten a pass from the union on getting the strike to expand. UAW's president tells me that he believes that Ford went backwards in negotiations, but Ford says it believes at this point the union is just holding up a deal specifically and largely over electric vehicle battery plants. Remember, EVs are something that has been a concern for the union, some in the union, because potentially EVs will not have as many union jobs because EVs could take fewer jobs to make those vehicles, guys.
So, Jesse, in the meantime, we're seeing several layoffs go into effect as we are amid these strikes. What more can you tell us about those layoffs?
Yes, so there have been layoffs from the automakers. There have also been outside companies that have announced layoffs or the potential for layoffs, and it just speaks to the ripple effect of this strike. It stretches beyond these companies directly. We know that the union has vowed to give the equivalent of strike pay to its members who are laid off temporarily as a result of the strike. So that could wind up eating to the UAW strike fund a little bit more. But remember, guys, we're only talking about around a fifth, less than a fifth of the UAW's total Big Three workforce that is on strike right now. And that means that the money that the union has to fund its striking could continue to stretch for quite some time.
Jesse, the UAW did record a small victory. This was late last night, reaching a deal with Volvo Group-owned Mack Trucks, avoiding a strike for that company. Is this a sign of hope that the union can reach an agreement with the Big Three? Can anything that got done there kind of transfer over?
Well, so what we're looking at right now, Savannah, is the agreement potential between three different companies, right? We're talking about Stellantis, the Jeep maker. We're talking about General Motors. We're talking about Ford. And these are national agreements. And it's hard to know exactly where things are in negotiations because although the union has said that it has moved from its initial demands in bargaining, I continue to press for an answer on where they've made moves. And the union balks at sharing any details on that. So we don't know how close the two sides are on a deal. But again, a deal can be made between the union and any one of these automakers at any time. So we don't need, it's not all or nothing. So there's the potential that there could be one deal and then potentially a domino effect after that.
All right, Jesse Kirsch, thank you so much for staying on this for us.
Our first Monday in October is off to a welcome quiet start when it comes to the weather.
That's right. Meteorologist Michelle Grossman is with us again. Hey, Michelle, good morning.
Hey there, guys. Yeah, we are quiet, which is a nice relief. We're starting out October, but we're starting out warm in many spots, feeling very summer-like. Temperatures anywhere from 5 up to 25 degrees above normal for this time of year. That starts in the plains and then it heads on east. Now, we have a cold front that's straight from New Mexico all the way to North Dakota. Back behind this, we're looking at below average temperatures. We're looking at heavy snow in the northern Rockies, even up to 8 inches of snow. Also looking at some heavy rain as well. Could see some thunderstorms. We'll go all through that later. But the Pacific Northwest also looking at some wet weather. Ahead of this front, we are above average temperatures in the 80s, the 90s for this first week in October. Seasonable and sunny in the southeast. We have lots of sunshine. Big area of high pressure in portions of the Tennessee Valley, the Ohio Valley, the northeast will be really sunny today and warm. New England looking really good as well. Could see some sea breeze storms later in Florida. That would be later on today into the afternoon and evening hours. Now, as we near Wednesday, we watch that cold front move a little bit to the east. So now we're looking at rain stretching from the Great Lakes through portions of the Mississippi Valley into the southern plains. Could see a storm threat as well. That includes a chance for tornadoes, certainly heavy rain, some hail, also some really gusty winds. Snow continuing once again in the northern Rockies. And then we're going to dry down the Pacific Northwest by Wednesday. Rain also in the upper Midwest. Sunny conditions linger into portions of the east. We're looking at sunny skies also in the southeast. But then by Friday, that front makes it to the northeast, and then we're talking showers to end the work week, and we're going to return to fall-like weather by the weekend in portions of New England, the northeast, into parts of the mid-Atlantic as well. We're going to see temperatures in the 60s. Feeling like fall back behind that front. Also, plenty of sunshine lingering for the end of the week into parts of the west, and we're looking at sunny and warm in the southwest. So talking about the heat today, we're cool in the west, and we're really warm, summer-like in portions of the plains all the way to the east. So 80s and 90s. Look at Minneapolis today, near 90 degrees, 88. That's 24 degrees above what is typical for this time of year. 80s in Chicago, 80s in Oklahoma City. We're looking at 90s in Kansas City, also in Memphis, mid-90s in Houston. That's 9 degrees above what is typical for this time of year. And this heat dome, it's a big area of high pressure bringing in this warm air. So we're looking at Pittsburgh, 81 degrees, 13 degrees above normal. And then there's that cool weather back to the west. Salt Lake City just in the mid-50s, 17 degrees below what is typical for this time of year. That pattern stays in place tomorrow, also Wednesday, and then eventually that cold front's going to slide to the east, kind of dropping those temperatures. So we're looking by tomorrow, Cheyenne, 62 degrees, 57 in Salt Lake City, and still tons of 80s and 90s. Record-breaking temperatures. We broke some records yesterday. Some of the warmest October days on record in some spots yesterday. Could see that once again today, 90 in St. Louis, 84 in Greenberg, 80 degrees in Cleveland. So that's a big story. We're going to keep hold on to these warm temperatures in portions of the Northeast on Wednesday, 80 still, 81 degrees in New York City. But notice that trail off. And then by the weekends, we're looking at temperatures even in the low 60s. So really fall-like by the weekend. Now, there's that cold front. Back behind it, we have the cool temperatures. Ahead of it, really warm. But in between, there's that transition zone, that clash zone. So we're looking at the chance for heavy rain along this cold front, even those mountain snow, up to 8 inches in some spots in the northern Rockies. A severe risk in the West Texas, southern Colorado, into portions of New Mexico. Could see some pretty gusty storms with winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour, and also the chance for some large hail. This cold front moves a little bit slow, but it moves to the east. So by tomorrow, we're looking at a chance of rain from the southern to the northern plains. Also, still seeing some snow in portions of the Rockies. We're looking at storms capable of strong winds up to 60 miles per hour, just like today. Large hail is possible. The chance of a few tornadoes. It's not the greatest threat, but it's not zero either. Also looking at the chance for some heavy rain that could prompt some flash flooding because we could see 2 inches per hour. We have a lot of moisture with this cold front. Now, talking about that rainfall again, up to 2 inches per hour. There's that front. Really easy to see from the northern plains into portions of the southern plains. This is over the next couple of days. These darker spots, the reds, the yellows, the oranges, indicating where we expect the highest amounts of rain. Now, in terms of the storm threat, that we're talking mainly this afternoon into the evening hours. We sort of need that daytime heating to kind of spark these storms. So again, winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour, the hail there, and also the chance for a few tornadoes. That's mainly in portions of New Mexico, also western Texas, where you see the yellow that includes Roswell. Could see some strong storms. But again, today, abundant sunshine for a lot of us. The big story will be that temperature difference across the country.
Yeah, really. Oof, I know. And still feeling so warm here, as we were saying before.
And that's really for the entire week. We're going to keep these warm temperatures in place.
Looking ahead, I like this week.
I do, too. I'm not complaining.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
It's a gift.
Coming up, a desperate search in open waters.
Authorities in California are looking for the victim of an apparent shark attack. Details on that incident up next. We are back with a look at that urgent search for a missing girl in upstate New York. Officials say the fourth grader disappeared over the weekend while on a camping trip with her family.
NBC News senior national correspondent Stephanie Gosk has the latest on all this. Stephanie, good morning.
Hey, guys, good morning. Charlotte Senna was last seen Saturday evening on her bike. She was with her family and close friends on a weekend camping trip in Saratoga County, not far from her home. Now teams are searching by ground, air, and water, looking for any trace of this little girl.
This morning, a desperate search is underway for 9-year-old Charlotte Senna, who police say may have been abducted while out biking in upstate New York. Over 100 law enforcement and volunteers searching for the little girl on the ground and from the air.
We are leaving no stone, no branch, no table, no cabin unturned.
Police issued an Amber Alert Sunday morning after her parents reported Charlotte missing during a family camping trip.
When we couldn't find her here, it was quite possible that an abduction had taken place.
Authorities say Charlotte was last seen around 6:15 Saturday evening in Moreau Lake State Park, riding her bike in the campground's Loop A with her close friends. That's when the fourth grader decided to go around one last time by herself before the sun went down. But 15 minutes later, she still had not returned to the campsite.
Her parents knew immediately something was up. They called her name. People started searching. People from other campgrounds joined.
Police say Charlotte's bike was recovered along Loop A at 6:45 p.m. Her mother called 911.
Our Bureau of Criminal Investigation has been conducting interviews with those in the park.
Her family telling NBC News, "We just want her returned safely, like any parent would. No tip is too small." They say their little girl always looked out for others with a kindness that attracted so many friends.
Hopefully there'll be a reunion. Hopefully there'll be a family that has been traumatized but is reunited.
Moreau Lake State Park posted on Facebook the park is closed until further notice, writing in part, "For everyone asking what they can do to help, please stay off the trails and away from Moreau. Leave all searching to the professionals."
All right. Wow. Let's hope for the best here.
Yeah, heartbreaking.
Makes you sick.
Yeah, it really does. Thank you so much.
A search of another kind is underway off the coast of California, where officials say a man went missing after reportedly being attacked by a shark. The incident prompted an emergency response from 4 different agencies, which are now racing to find the victim in open water. NBC News national correspondent Miguel Almaguer has the latest.
Today, multiple agencies in California are searching for a swimmer who apparently was attacked by a shark.
There's a text to 911 for a possible shark bite.
This morning, an urgent search for a missing swimmer after authorities believe he was attacked by a shark in the waters off the coast of California.
The subject was still in the water.
Emergency teams were dispatched to Wildcat Beach, a remote area in the Point Reyes National Seashore, 30 miles north of San Francisco, after the man's friend sent a text to 911 saying they were swimming in the Pacific Ocean and had been attacked by a shark.
2 of those persons made it back to shore safely. The victim did not.
We did not see a subject in the water, so we began a search, both from the air, water, and land. We searched for 2 hours and yielded no results.
The incident comes after a busy summer of shark encounters along the shores of the East Coast.
Shark attack at the lifeguard station isn't easy.
Attacks in New York leaving swimmers on alert for months, and dramatic sightings in Florida. In June, paddleboarders off the shore getting a surprise visit from a hammerhead lurking in the water, and a recent shock on a Pensacola beach. Rescuers helping a massive shark stranded in the water. Back in California, the search continues for a swimmer as his friends wait for answers.
With the water frigid off California's coast, hypothermia is a major concern as time becomes a big factor in the search. Back to you.
All right, Miguel, thank you. Well, coming up, going around in circles?
Yeah, they might be the norm in other countries, but roundabouts, could they be catching on in the U.S., making roads safer and saving drivers a little time? We'll take a closer look at the rising trend next. We're back with a possible solution to traffic gridlock, but it's one that a lot of Americans don't like. We're talking about roundabouts. More cities are looking to replace their stoplight intersections with traffic circles. But do they really make commutes faster and safer? NBC News correspondent Marissa Parra visits the roundabout capital of the South to find out.
Some call this a traffic circle. Maybe you know it as a rotary.
Oh my God, you really do love roundabouts. I love a roundabout.
No matter what you call them, in Oxford, Mississippi, you can't miss them.
You're never too far away from the next roundabout. You're just never too far from the next roundabout.
And that's just the way she likes it. Mayor Robin Tannehill took us driving in circles in what she calls the roundabout capital of the South.
I hear you have a nickname. I do have a nickname, Roundabout Robin.
In Europe, roundabouts are everywhere. Here in the U.S., they're not that common, but they are on the rise. This college town in Mississippi has built 21 new traffic circles in 6 years.
This is one of 34 roundabouts in the area, but the city of Oxford is not the only city going all in on roundabouts.
Bend, Oregon has almost 50, Lincoln, Nebraska has more than 75, and Carmel, Indiana has around 140. Studies show roundabouts drive down serious injury and fatal crash rates by 90%. Drivers are forced to slow down, and there are fewer conflict points for vehicles, saving lives and maybe saving time. Marvin King has a front row seat.
How much of a difference has it made in your daily life?
Oh, right here, this would have taken forever because it would have been a slow stop. Bye, Franny. Have a great day.
Dropping off his kids at school, the Oxford father lives what studies also show. Those circles are cutting his commute.
Throughout the course of a week, I'm probably saving 30 or 40 minutes.
But with growth comes growing pains. A new roundabout near Orlando, Florida opened a second lane last summer and saw 131 crashes since. Officials there say as more drivers have gotten used to it, the numbers have gone down. And even in the so-called roundabout capital of the South,
usually I yell at them in my car thinking that they can hear me.
Not everyone is along for the ride.
Do not like them one bit. I hate them.
Like them or not, they're here to stay, with more on the way.
I have gotten calls from other mayors, saying, okay, we're thinking about a roundabout.
And this mayor hopes her corner of the South,
a roundabout is a great solution in Oxford, Mississippi.
Can be a roadmap to the future. Marissa Parra, NBC News, Oxford, Mississippi.
Huh, interesting. Yeah. I don't mind them.
It depends. The ones that are well labeled, I like. The ones that aren't, I feel like are a little more dangerous.
Yeah. There you go.
Coming up, writing for your mental well-being.
We're going to speak with actor Brittany Snow and entrepreneur Jasper Guest about their September Letters initiative. That's next. Welcome back. Well, September might just barely be over, but the mental health platform, the September Letters, is going from strength to strength, celebrating its 3-year anniversary as well as a new book. It's co-founded by actress Brittany Snow and entrepreneur Jasper Guest. The September Letters focuses on mental health and wellness through the platform of shared letters and therapeutic writing, and really sharing your story with others. For more, we are lucky enough to be joined by Brittany Snow and by Jasper Guest. Thank you so much for being here. I've got Jasper here on set with me, Brittany on Zoom. So we're going to kind of work this out because I know that I love your story, which is actually where I want to start with the two of you and how this kind of came to be. Jasper, I'll ask you just since you're right here on set. Tell me a little bit about you and Brittany beginning this together and how this came to be this actual book.
You know, we never meant to write a book. We meant to write a journal, and then all of a sudden it transformed into a book. Brittany and I have been friends for a really long time, and I knew of her story, and one day she was like, I really want to do this thing, and I was like, I help people do things. Let me help you. And so we started working on it in 2018, and then it launched in September 2020, and when we flipped our website live, we were just praying for like 1 or 2 letters, and we've gotten quite a few letters since then, and it's been, you know, kind of an incredible experience. And then on the website, you can read a letter, write a letter, or request a letter.
I love that feature, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute. Brittany, I want to bring you in here and talk through. I know some of this was inspired by you sharing your own story and what kind of the power of writing a letter or writing down or expressing your story is to other people. What has that meant for you, and what have you seen it mean to other people?
Yes, this all started because I read an article in a magazine when I was a kid, and I didn't understand what mental health even was. And I found my own story in someone else's words. I realized that I had something that didn't make me crazy. It made me actually quite normal. And so I ripped that article out of the magazine and carried around in my back pocket as a symbol to signify hope and that there was other people going through the same thing. And then I came out with my story when I was 21, and I went to, I shared it in a magazine article as well. I went to a coffee shop after the article had come out, and there was a girl in the coffee shop who was crying, and she turned around and she had my article that I had written in her back pocket. And it was this sort of full circle moment where I realized that as small or as big as our stories are, or how different we may seem, they really do connect us and could be that missing ticket to make us feel more united and connected.
Oh,
so that's where it sort of started.
I mean, how cool, the full circle of you having had that experience with somebody else and then somebody sharing that with you. Jasper, let's now talk about the website, because this book that I'm physically holding,
there's a back pocket in there.
There is a back, okay, so tell me the back pocket, because I love this.
I don't know, you know, Brittany's story is so like symbol around this back pocket. For us, we wanted to give people that opportunity to have a back pocket, and you know, it's all about sharing your story and feeling less alone, and that was something that's really important to us.
Yeah, I love it. It's where you can kind of keep your own.
You can store anything. You can store like notes. You can rip pages out.
Yeah.
You know, this book is supposed to. We really like to say it's a tool.
Yeah.
It's more of a guidebook. It's not a book. You can open it to any page. That's the letter of the day that's meant for you. You don't have to read it in a traditional sense. And so we want it. That's why there's doodles. She and I are big on doodling. Like we want you to kind of make it a livable, breathable tool in your everyday life.
Absolutely. And it really is true that you can open it up and anything's there. So there's this physical book, which is fabulous. And like you said, it's more kind of, it's a collection, I'd say, right? Not doesn't need to be experienced like a book. But then there's also the website. So talk through what this exactly means, what September Letters as a whole, what this does on the website, where you can request a letter, you can write a letter. What does that mean?
You know, there's a lot of science-backed data on letter writing initiatives, and for us, it was about the power of putting a pen or a keyboard or whatever to paper and telling your story. And like what Brittany shared, her story about when she shared and someone saw their story in themselves. Very much when I read your Teen Vogue op-ed, which was really remarkable and amazing, I'm sure a lot of people, and even myself, was like, oh my God, that is me. And you know, there's a part in life where you feel very isolated when you're going through these traumatic moments, and you feel like I could be the only person on the planet going through this, and you're not. And that's really what the September Letters, you know, website platform is all about, is someone seeing their story in someone else's. And also with you writing your story, and I'm sure you had this experience, it's very therapeutic. You know, you actually see how far you've come and where you're going. And so it kind of has not only the help for yourself, but help for others.
Absolutely. Yeah, it actually was kind of incredible through that experience. And thank you for bringing that up. Hearing actually from parents, because I was writing about my experience when I was younger, being like, my child is experiencing these very specific things that they think, oh my God, there's shame around it, or who can I talk to? Do I tell a doctor? So it's so true. Brittany, I was really struck by just even going on the website where there's an area where you can be requesting letters, or people have even just kind of used like this comment feature to just start writing openly. I'm dealing with this, I'm this old, and this doesn't feel good at school. Tell me about some of the things that you've heard from people that have really stuck with you.
I think really that's the backbone and the seminal part of the website, to be honest, is the connection piece of the website, being able to just reach out and say, is there anyone out there that has this experience as well? And forming that community and creating that shared connection, I think, is the key to sometimes feeling and beginning your mental health journey and recovery. And so I think it's my favorite part of the website, to be honest, is sort of a pay it forward effect. You can ask someone to, like, please write a letter for me. And the giving and the sharing that I've seen on the website really reignites hope in humanity, because people they take the time to write things for strangers just to share their experience.
Absolutely. Well, Brittany Snow, it looks early still and dark where you are, so I appreciate you being able to join us on this. Jasper Guest, thank you for being here. I love your friendship and what you're doing.
Miss you,
Brett. I know, we wish you were here with us. You'll have to do it next time. September Letters, this is fantastic. Thank you both so much for joining and sharing, especially as we're headed towards Mental Health Awareness Day. We appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Well, today, negotiators for the Screen Actors Guild are set to meet with studios for the very first time since going on strike. Meanwhile, writers are back at work, and late-night talk shows are making their return tonight. NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas has the details.
Hey there. For the first time since May, late-night talk shows will be brand new as hosts like The Tonight Show's Jimmy Fallon make their return to TV. But with the actors still on strike, the spotlight is shifting to some of Hollywood's biggest stars.
For the first time since May, late night is making its return to TV. HBO becoming the first network to get talk shows up and running again.
We've been off air for the last 5 months due to the writer's strike, which I'm very happy to say is over and even happy to say was successful. So
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver premiering last night. And over the weekend, Real Time with Bill Maher making its on-air return for the first time since the 148-day writer's strike came to an end.
It's been a long time. Let's not ever be apart this long forever.
Tonight, 4 more hosts will bring their shows back.
I missed you guys so much. We are back.
Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, Jimmy Kimmel, and Stephen Colbert all back on set for their long-awaited return.
Live in the Ed Sullivan Theater for the first time in 5 months.
But the comeback comes as Hollywood is still missing some of its biggest stars. While writers are able to return to work, actors are in the midst of an 80-day strike of their own. Sources familiar with the talks say the Actors Union will meet with the AMPTP today for the first time since the strike began. The group represents studios, including NBC Universal's parent company Comcast. Several studio executives are also expected to attend. While WGA's latest contract will act as a framework outlining protections against AI and an increase in residuals from streaming, actors are also asking for other key issues, including changes to the audition process, which the union says has become unregulated and out of control.
It's not how much longer can we go without work, it's how much longer can we go to get what we need.
Without a deal, actors won't be able to film or even promote any new movies or TV shows, meaning it could still be months before new scripted content is released.
Great to be back. I missed you too.
Still, with the revival of late night, Tinseltown is one step closer to shining again.
With actors still on strike, it will certainly be interesting to watch. Late Night with Seth Meyers is making its return without guests, while others have actors on to promote their side projects. But of course, these are nightly shows, so we're going to see how they handle this in the coming days as they hold out for SAG-AFTRA to strike a deal. Back to you.
All right, Chloe, thank you so much. Let's get to some money news. Apple is coming out with some answers after complaints about the new iPhone 15 overheating.
CNBC's Silvana Henao is back with that and other financial news. Hey, Silvana, good morning.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Savannah. Yep, so Apple says a bug in iOS 17 is what's causing the new iPhone 15 Pro to overheat while being used or charged. The company will issue a fix in an upcoming software update. After getting complaints, Apple says the devices may feel warmer after they're set up or restored because of increased background activity from third-party apps. Those include Instagram, Uber, and the video game Asphalt 9. Apple says the issue is not due to the design of the iPhone 15, and it's not a safety risk. the UAW striking a tentative contract deal with Mack Trucks, narrowly averting a strike at the company. The union has about 3,500 members working at 5 factories in Pennsylvania, Florida, and Maryland. The contract with Mack, which is owned by Sweden's Volvo Group, was set to expire just before midnight on Sunday, and the deal comes as the UAW continues its strike against Ford, GM, and Chrysler parent Stellantis. And India's elderly population is forecast to double in the next 25 years, overtaking the number of children in the country. A report by the UN Population Fund predicts there will be a decline in people aged 15 to 59. India is the world's most populous country and currently has the largest youth population, with 2/3 of citizens under 35. The rise in the aging population will bring a number of economic challenges, including income insecurity and lack of proper health care, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Savannah. Appreciate it. Coming up, Feel the Fear.
Get ready to jump as we take a closer look at what's hitting our screens this spooky season and find out how more women are getting involved in horror movies. That's next.
Welcome back. Taylor Swift's Eras Tour is, of course, coming to movie theaters in a couple of weeks. And now we know Beyonce is not far behind. A movie based on the music icon's blockbuster Renaissance World Tour will hit U.S. theaters on December 1st. A trailer dropped last night showing the singer rehearsing with her oldest daughter, Blue Ivy. She can be heard saying, "When I am performing, I am nothing but free. My goal for this tour was to create a place where everyone is free and no one is judged." A great message there. Ticket pre-sales are open at theater chains, including AMC, Regal, and Cinemark. So plenty of music and movie theaters coming up in the next few months.
I love those where it just feels like you're there.
Exactly.
You know, very exciting.
It's cheaper,
and we
too.
needed it. That's for sure. All right, finally this hour, we are also going to talk about other things in the theater. Spooky season, that's got many of us searching for this year's perfect scary movies.
And if you've been too frightened to watch in the past few years, well, you're in for a treat. Horror films have changed a lot recently, becoming more complex and actually getting good reviews.
Wow, there you go. Nikki Novak is a correspondent for Fandango. She joins us now on set with more. Hi, it's great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show.
Thank
Happy
you.
spooky season.
Yes, but excited for Beyonce and Taylor Swift's movie, too.
I know.
I mean, yes,
yeah,
we can't wait for those.
Maybe there's spooky elements. We don't know yet.
We'll find out.
Also, I did love how many commercials there were for the Taylor Swift one in the Chiefs game last night.
I wonder why.
The Chiefs Jets game, I should say. Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, talk to us about what's been in theaters already that I think is doing pretty well in terms of spooky season and what we can expect coming up.
So Saw X just came out over the weekend, and here's the thing that's happening with horror movies in 2023 and in the last couple of years is that they're doing incredibly well at the box office. This one pulled in $18 million domestically, almost 30 worldwide. But the important thing to remember about these things is horror movies are fairly cheap to make by Hollywood standards. It was a $13 million budget, so they've already made their money back the first weekend.
Oh, wow, interesting.
And then as far as what's coming out, what we're seeing a lot is these legacy sequels. We saw a couple of years ago, the Halloween trilogy came back with Jamie Lee Curtis, and The Exorcist, 50 years after the original film was the first horror movie nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. Exorcist Believer is coming out this weekend, and Ellen Bernstein is back.
I know.
Yeah. I know. She's back in great form and ready to exorcise those demons again. I know, she's incredible. And Leslie Odom Jr. is starring in it. So you're having these highbrow actors come in and star in these films. And then another one that I'm excited about, and this is another thing that's happening with the horror genre, is it's becoming a little bit more subversive, and to use a pun, it's bleeding over into other genres. So Five Nights at Freddy's is based on a video game franchise. It's going to be streaming on Peacock on October 22nd and coming out on theaters on the same day. This one stars Josh Hutcherson, and it stars also a bunch of animatronic animals that are demons and haunting, they're the ghosts of children. So you're seeing a lot in horror films, different sort of things happening, and a lot of auteur filmmakers coming in and changing up the genre.
Yeah, that's great. And also women. Let's talk about the role women are playing in these movies and how that's changed so much in recent years.
Yeah, so we remember about 20 years ago, it was a lot of these horror slasher films with a lot of gore, a lot of violence. There was always a woman running in the woods, and she was usually the first to be killed. Those days are over. Now you're having actresses like Jessica Chastain, who came in and did the movie It a couple years ago, as well as Octavia Spencer a couple couple of years ago, an Academy Award-winning actress starring in a film like that. And that's what we're seeing more, the more ownership in terms of female leads in these films. And they're not victims anymore. They're really the lead of these films. Jessica Chastain, like I said, and Elizabeth Moss a couple of years ago in The Invisible Man. So we're really seeing this trend. And what it's doing is it's bringing in a whole new audience. We're seeing female demos, sometimes over 50% going to these films. And the genre is really expanding. A lot more comedy in these, a lot of directors that have really original things to say. And I really think it was Jordan Peele's Get Out in 2017 that kicked that off. Yeah. Now I think people are not copying, but they're really coming up with these.
You can win an Oscar for it.
Absolutely, for Best Original Screenplay. So yeah.
All right, Nikki Novak, this is so exciting that we're in spooky season. I love this.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm happy to hear it. How about you?
I'm not a scary movie person, but
stick to Taylor Swift on October 13th.
See? Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much.
Great to see you.
Let's get it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.